So with that out of the way, we are going to get into today's theme, seeing as it was Phil's idea. Phil, would you like to present it today?
Yeah, okay, why not? We thought about arcade games in general, and then we decided that there was way too many, and we were looking at different lists of the best arcade games, and there was just throughout the time, there was no way we could whittle it down to a few. So we thought for today's episode, seeing as it's probably the prime time of most of our gaming lives of going to arcades, we would focus on iconic games through the 90s.
All right, so the first one, we're going to go, for presenting purposes, we're going to go in chronological order. And that's going to start us off with Street Fighter 2. So let me get the video for that, and here we go.
All right. So just as a little background, arcade games in France was not that big of a stuff. As you may know, all of these arcade games are published by Japanese company. So in the case of Metal Slug, Street Fighter 2, I'm tired. Of course, Street Fighter is Capcom, and it was released, as you said, in 92?
Something 1991.
1991, so 1992 for us, very likely. And of course, I had this, I believe, on Mega Drive at the time. So thankfully, most of the arcade game were ported onto a console version, which is how I can actually speak tonight. Otherwise, I would be lost. Because in the whole game gonna talk, I think I played only one of these at an arcade. So Street Fighter 2, much better than the Street Fighter 1, which was a catastrophe and eat your coins like crazy. I really liked this game when I was a kid. Like later there was Tekken and stuff like this, but at the time there was no competition, there was no Mortal Kombat, Tekken, that was Street Fighter 2. If you had any game, at least in France, it was this one. So yeah, I played for hours and hours with friends, way too much for my parent taste, because of course I was a kid at school at the time, so we had to limit a bit the time. But yeah, no, that was a fantastic game. I really like the balance of this game, and I don't know which is your favorite one. I really like the latest Street Fighter, but on the two, I really like the Blanca, the man beast who can make electricity in a ball. It was really fun to play.
Blanca was always my favorite character too. That was the one I played the most, but it's funny because...
I have to choose another one.
I have to choose another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was the funny is when I was little, he was the guy I really liked, but as I've gotten older, because he was a little bit slower, but he hit a little bit harder, kind of like Zangief.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I've leaned more towards kind of the fast, more athletic, like comboing characters. So I probably would have, like, if it was me now, I'd probably go more with Chun-Li. But the other character that I would play back then was Dhalsim, just because he was just so like, I just like the characters that were just kind of like magic in a way. You know, either like I can make my body electricity, or I can stretch in some really bizarre way, or whatever. So I really liked Dhalsim, and me and my friends would spend when we played it on console, we would just spend like hours trying to get Yoga Fire to work because the combo was something ridiculous. That's all we would do, is just back into other corners and be like, whoever can get it first wins. And that was kind of our competition there.
For me, it was who's mine? E Honda. I used to enjoy playing E Honda. You could sit at range, and you know, especially against certain people, you could just slap them to death. Or probably if I was playing somebody who knew what they were doing, I probably would go for something like M Bison. Just he had some decent power moves. Like
he was the original boss. Was he the boss in Street Fighter 2 or just Street Fighter 1?
In the 2 he was the boss, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Sagat was the boss in Street Fighter 1, actually.
Probably true. I haven't played a Street Fighter really since Street Fighter 2, actually. Every time I end up playing it, I always end up playing Street Fighter 2. I don't know why. It's just how it always seems to work out. But yeah, I've seen like the newer ones. And the character designs, I'm kind of like, ooh, that's like really oddly bulky and just,
And if you wonder what the difference between the arcade booth and the Mega Drive version, the Mega Drive version, you only pay once. For the arcade, you spend so many coins. You pay the game like 2 or 3 times. So very good for Capcom, but very bad for the players.
yeah,
I
it
used
was,
to really Vega was pretty powerful as well. I remember. Was it Street Fighter 2 where you could knock he had the claw, you could knock the claw off and he could go on the cage?
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
second one. Yeah. Man, fun memories. Yeah, it was tough because I think of all of them, of our group, we weren't really into fighter games. I mean, we would play them, but it wasn't the type of thing that we would go crazy for. But I think Street Fighter probably was ranked higher than Tekken and Mortal Kombat, just because the characters were just, I don't know, they had more interest. And I guess as well with having it was a horrific movie. And I can't remember what year the movie came out, with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kylie Minogue. But it did have, I can never remember his name, the guy from Addams Family who played.
it was his final movie,
Cortez.
Gulia or something, I think.
Yeah, what a character! I'm going to put this light back on because I've gone dark. Yeah, and then but you had the second one, Street Fighter 2 movie was really good, the animated one. That was a really good, crazy film, good anime movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would play it sometimes, but I think it was more. And again, we're creeping into 2000 here. It was more when Marvel versus Capcom, I think 2001, when that came out. I had friends who really enjoyed playing that. So I would see that more. And again, I didn't really play it. I would just sit at the back and watch everything go crazy. But Street Fighter 2, yeah. So many fun memories.
So have you guys played a Street Fighter game recently or no?
No, I had some friends who are very, very fan of was it the 5, the latest one? With Dan, he liked to play the Dan character, which is a cheap knockoff of Ryu. It's Ryu, but who misses everything. Like when you throw a fireball, you have a little stuff like this.
I always felt like this
game.
was a type of game that was really good at the time of of games developing, and especially as an arcade game, because it's quick and simple and easy and it's violent and somebody wins, somebody loses. I always felt, how does it have longevity in the modern world? How do you make what is just a beat 'em up game something that people will continue to play?
Esports.
Esports
is it big in
good.
esports? Is
Oh
esports
no,
big?
Street Fighter is huge.
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, most of the footage, I'm pretty sure this footage, maybe even possibly, oh no, not this footage, because this footage I took from the intro, but 90% of the footage that I was finding when I was looking for something to play was from Evo, was from an esports event. So most of but for some odd reason, the coloring in that one is really weird. Like everything's kind of has this purple tint to it. But yeah, no, Street Fighter, I think even Street Fighter 2 was one of the first games that kind of started the whole esport trend.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, there's a really in in that community. There's a video that's really famous from one of the old events where a guy, I don't remember who they were playing as. I don't remember if they were playing as Chun-Li. I think it was Chun-Li versus Ryu. But
Chun-Li, yeah.
where
Blocks everything.
Yeah, he gets him down to like one life, where one hit would kill him, and then they block every single attack, and then just go into this combo that just takes out like 75% of the other guy's life, and just completely like it's just like this clutch victory. Yeah, and if you watch the video, like immediately afterwards, the crowd just goes crazy. Like people are just screaming. It's a really great video to watch. But yeah, this is a huge esports game, and we've talked about it before. That was part of the reason why the team at Dead or Alive said they were toning down the fan service, was because they wanted to join. They wanted that sweet esport money, so they wanted it to become an esport, and they felt that it wouldn't, given its current reputation, and so that was the reason they toned it down. Which they didn't technically tone it down, and it's still not an esport. So, but yeah,
they can just put more clothing on the esport version.
Yeah, fighters are huge in esports. Yeah, and Street Fighter is still one of the biggest. So, and I think part of that is people feel that the characters in Street Fighter are some of the most balanced. Yeah. Ready to move on to our next one?
Mhm.
Mhm.